Same-sex marriage in Texas continues to be illegal, and as a result, same-sex couples who have children are getting their rights taken away, especially their parental rights. Case in point, we have Jason, Hanna, and Joe Riggs. Now, they had twin boys using a surrogate, and what they did is they used their sperm to ensure that the twin boys had their DNA. They're biologically their children, right? Well, it turns out that Texas is refusing to put the father's names on the certificates, and instead they are putting the surrogate mother's name on the certificate, even though she is not biologically related to them at all. In fact, that embryo was not hers. So biologically, it's not her children. It doesn't matter. Since Texas does not recognize same-sex marriage, her name is on the certificate. Their names are not on the certificate, which of course, destroys their rights when it comes to raising these kids.
So two super interesting parts of the story. One, man, science is amazing, right? So each one of the kids is biological kids of each one of the dads.
Yep.
How do they do that, right?
Yeah.
I'm blown away by that. And on that alone, they should be like, man, that's amazing. You get the kids.
Yeah. Well, I think what they do is they take an egg and then they just implant sperm from both fathers, right?
Yeah. Look, you're probably right. It's probably less amazing than I think it is. It's just overwhelming to me. But okay, now on to the heart of the story. They didn't even let the biological dads onto the birth certificate. Forget the adoption part for a second. Because look, Texas does not allow gay marriage, so the adoption is an issue, which is a horrible injustice to begin with, but we'll get to that third. The second part is, there's no doubt that they are the biological dads, and they would not allow their names to go on the birth certificate. How can you justify that? Gay, not gay, doesn't matter. There's facts. They're the biological dads. And they won't put them on to individual kids. That kid is the individual child of one of the dads, and his name doesn't go on the birth. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's also Texas.
No, and the incredible part about all of this is, they, of course, conservatives will reject any type of scientific data in order to push their own anti-gay agenda, even if they know it's going to hurt the children involved. Now, I'm sure they've convinced themselves that they're not going to hurt the children involved, but the reality is these children were born to a loving couple that wants to raise them, that wants to nurture them, that wants to do everything necessary to make sure that they have a great life, and then they come in and say, no, the biological mother, which of course she's not really the biological mother, is the surrogate, so we're going to put her on the birth certificate, and then she gets the rights that she doesn't even want to begin with. I mean, it's crazy. You're actually harming them. Study after study proves same-sex couples just as effective at child rearing, if not better. So it's crazy.
So let's talk about that last element here. So we've got family values, and in this case, what it does is rip the family apart.
Exactly.
Oh, great family values. Really appreciate that. And then one of the dads said that when he found out that they're not going to let them do the adoption and all that, that he was shocked. But you shouldn't be shocked. That's what happens in red states. And honestly, that's why the economy of the red states are going to be hurt in the long run, because if you're gay, I mean, I know, look, people's jobs are in red states, their families are in red states, but you almost got to get out of there. I mean, they're not going to let you keep your family. They won't even acknowledge that it's your kids. So, I mean, what kind of values are these? And the people who say, oh, the gays have the same rights as straights, they just like to complain. Well, here's a situation where they most clearly do not have the same rights as a straight couple does. So understand that what you're saying is a lie. They do not have the same rights.
And another thing to take into consideration is that in Texas, judges get to rule based on their own discretion when it comes to these situations. So for instance, there are judges that are kind enough to say, hey, you know what, I think that in this case, the couple should be included on the birth certificate. So there have been cases like that, or a judge will come in and say, you know what, you can do co-adoption, which is what they wanted to do. But in this case, the judge totally denied their request, denied their appeal, so they're right now left with nothing to do. They don't know how to handle the situation. And it's scary to know that the people preaching the family values can tear a family apart like this. It's ridiculous.
And by the way, just fess up to it, that's all. Just say, hey, you know what, we don't think gays should have the same rights as straights. We want to take away some of their rights, and sometimes we like to split up their families and go, you know why? Because we hate gays, because we think that our Bible told us to hate gays. Just admit it, okay? Then at least we can have an honest conversation.